The details surrounding the reported missing baby of Chrissy Lampkin and Jim Jones are messy, suspicious, and downright chilling. This isn't your average missing person case. Oh no, it's a full-blown Hollywood-level scandal, and the streets are already talking. If you've been following all the drama surrounding Chrissy and Jim, you already know that their relationship has been. Chrissy and Jim have been on my support for years, and they have been engaged for more than 10 years with no wedding in sight. Chrissy has publicly pleaded for commitment, and let's just say that commitment isn't exactly his strong suit. Now, with the missing baby added to the mix, the whole situation is looking very suspicious. Here is what we currently know. Earlier this morning, reports surfaced that Chrissy and Jim's baby had disappeared, is entirely missing without a trace. But this is where things take a strange turn. According to people close to Chrissy, she was last seen with the baby in her Miami condo a few days ago, and everything appeared to be going normally. No forced entry, no signs of struggle, until the baby vanished. As you are all already aware, the internet detectives jumped right on. Let's face it, the timing of all of this is way too convenient. First, there was the paternity drama. Then Jim started acting funny, and now the baby disappears. Something isn't adding up. Now, let's talk about Jim Jones for a moment because of the way he's been acting, which has people giving him the side eye while Chrissy has been. Jim has been chilling while frantically calling the police, making statements and crying. Yes, you heard correctly. Rather than publicly discussing his missing child, Jim was seen hanging out with his boys, making jokes, and acting completely unconcerned. If that wasn't strange enough, he even posted a mysterious message on Instagram that had people going crazy. Sometimes you got the chills. We have a serious problem if this man is talking about letting go of his own child. The internet wasted no time in dragging him down. One user wrote that Jim Jones was acting too calm for someone whose baby had just gone missing. Another said that Chrissy was devastated and that Jim was just relaxing. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but this whole situation is looking really shady because, let's not forget, there were already rumors circulating on the streets about whether Jim was actually the child's father in the first place. Yes, you heard that right. A few months ago, there were rumors that Jim had secretly demanded a paternity test behind Chrissy's back, and some people said he was telling his close friends that he had misgivings, but others claimed that he was attempting to have a private DNA test completed before signing the birth certificate. Jim abruptly began to distance himself shortly after the baby was born, which I don't think was a coincidence. Let's now discuss the doubtful details surrounding this baby's disappearance. According to Chrissy's close friend, she was the last person seen with the baby, but when? Before we start blaming others, let's talk about the one person who has been utterly silent since all of this happened, Jim Jones. The baby was nowhere to be found. There was no forced entry, no security footage of a break-in, and no witnesses saw anything suspicious. It's almost like the baby just disappeared into thin air. To talk to the media, but even Chrissy has been struggling to contact him. And this is where things spiral out of control because rumors are circulating that this may not be a case of a missing child, but rather a full-blown kidnapping. An anonymous source says she and Jim had been receiving threats for weeks prior to the kidnapping. Hold on, threats. This is going to change everything because if Chrissy and Jim were already being harassed, we need to find out who was behind it and why. In addition, Chrissy has a history of serious drama over the years, including feuding with ex-friends, rubbing people the wrong way in the industry, and financial difficulties she and Jim have faced. Be a warning, a message, or something even more sinister because people are now beginning to piece things together, and the evidence is pointed in a very unsettling direction. To start, let's discuss how conveniently quiet Jim has been throughout this entire period. One minute he's out here having fun with his friends, and the next minute he's completely off the grid, making it impossible for the paparazzi, who are usually busy with his business, to follow him. I'm not saying that Jim did, but if he's involved, that could explain why he's been acting strangely about the whole situation. Additionally, Jim has been openly questioning the baby's paternity. What if he discovered something that made him want to handle this situation himself? Now, I know what you're thinking. You may be wondering why Chrissy would not be involved in all of this. But the worst part is that she has been totally caught off guard by everything. She has been crying, calling friends for support, and even had to be escorted out of the police station after she showed up demanding answers. This woman is broken, so if this was some kind of inside job, Chrissy was definitely not involved, which only makes things worse. Even more tragic is the fact that the police have officially opened an investigation. However, according to new reports, an unidentified black SUV was seen close to Chrissy's condo just hours before the baby was reported missing. You guessed it, Jim owns a black SUV. Given the way things are going, we must now wonder if Jim knew who took the baby. This case could be much more complicated than a simple missing child case, and the next set of information that has surfaced is going to blow this case wide open because the police are now considering a darker possibility. Stay tuned as we delve deeply into the new evidence, the growing suspicions surrounding Jim Jones, and the unsettling connections that have recently come to light. Hold on, because this missing baby case is getting even stranger. The police have been working around the clock, and new information has emerged that is making people wonder if this is actually a kidnapping or if something much more sinister is at work. Let's start by talking about this black SUV. As I previously mentioned, a black SUV was seen close to Chrissy's condo just hours before the baby was reported missing. Jim Jones, who owns a black SUV, has gone missing. I'm not saying that Jim was the driver, but let's face it, this man has been acting strangely. The police started looking into it right away, obtaining security footage and attempting to follow the vehicle's movements. However, things get even more suspicious when they discover that Chrissy's condo security camera footage is missing. Yes, you heard that right. Could have provided us with crystal clear answers, but they were erased and vanished into thin air, and you all already know what that means. After all, security footage doesn't simply vanish unless someone makes it do so. The real question is, who has the authority to do that? Jim, a hired professional, or someone else involved in this whole situation? At this point, it's obvious that whoever took this baby knew what they were doing, and now that the police are beginning to piece things together, what they discovered has people completely inconsolable. Before we get into the most recent bombshells, let's discuss Chrissy's response to everything, because if you thought she was broken before, wait until you hear what happened next. Chrissy has been pleading with the police for more information, practically begging them to. Insiders claim that after learning about the SUV sighting and the missing footage, Chrissy lost it. She sobbed uncontrollably on the police station floor while stating, "I know who did this," before dropping a bombshell. Chrissy allegedly told police that she had a bad feeling about Jim for weeks prior to everything that happened, claiming that he had been acting strangely and avoiding her. Just days before the baby vanished, Chrissy also disclosed that she and Jim had a heated argument. According to Chrissy, Jim had accused her of lying about something and threatened to leave her permanently. Now, you guys tell me, what kind of father does that to his newborn child by making excuses and even going missing for extended periods of time without telling her where he was going? After that, Chrissy began to notice strange things happening, and she swore that someone was watching her. At first, she thought she was having hallucinations, but then she heard noises at night and saw a strange man standing outside her building late at night, just staring. The scariest part was that when she checked the security cameras to see who it was, the footage was gone. Occurred the night the baby vanished, and now it appears that everything was planned well in advance, which suggests that someone, possibly even Jim, had been planning something for weeks. This is where the case takes a startling new turn, as the police were beginning to piece together what had happened when another significant development occurred. And this one is like something from a Hollywood film. A second black SUV was found abandoned on the side of the road with a piece of fabric inside that matches something Chrissy had in the baby's nursery. Hold on, this is big, because it means that whoever took the baby was moving them around in a second car to confuse people, and the fact that this car was abandoned so quickly makes it seem like whoever was The police are now examining surveillance footage from surrounding streets, tracking license plates, and attempting to determine the exact origin of this second vehicle because the driver had to get rid of it quickly. However, things get even crazier because, after learning about this abandoned SUV, an enigmatic witness has come forward with new information, and what this witness claims alters everything. They described the man as tall, all black, and nervous when they saw him hurrying into a completely different car with a bundle wrapped in a blanket just hours after the baby was taken. When the police presented them with a lineup of possible suspects, guess whose picture they hesitated on? Jim Jones. Hold on, this is getting too crazy because this witness just claimed to have seen a man who looked a lot like Jim carrying something. That might have been the baby getting into another car, which would have meant that Jim was actually responsible for this since, let's face it, everything is pointing to him at the moment. Just when you thought it couldn't get any wilder, guess what? Jim Jones has disappeared. Yes, you heard correctly. No one is answering his phone. His team has gone silent. And this man has completely disappeared from the face of the earth, and you all already know what that means. Guilty people flee because, let's face it, if your baby goes missing, you should be out there trying your hardest to find them. However, Jim dipped, and now people are beginning to wonder if Jim Jones took the baby himself. Or, and this is where things get even scarier, did someone take Jim too? As a new theory is circulating. There are two main possibilities. Either Jim was involved in the baby's disappearance and is currently on the run because he knows the truth, or Jim may not have been genuinely responsible and was set up. What if Jim became involved in something much more serious than a missing baby? Remember, Jim Jones has been connected to some very powerful people, and not all of them have good intentions. The truth is going to be revealed. Option 2, Jim wasn't the mastermind, but he fell into a dubious situation, putting him and the baby in danger. In any case, this is getting too deep, and the most startling development is yet to come. Someone is calling the police anonymously, claiming to know exactly what happened to the baby. In part 3, we're going to delve into, as the chaos surrounding Chrissy Lampkin and Jim Jones' missing baby intensifies, pressure is increasing from all sides. Social media is in a frenzy, the streets are buzzing with rumors, and now even law enforcement is feeling the heat. These mysterious calls are the new twist that has everyone rethinking what really happened and the terrifying truth about who might actually be behind this entire situation. According to people close to Jim, he hasn't slept in days and has been calling nonstop, pulling every string he can, and even contacting people from his past that he vowed never to deal with again. If you know Jim's past, you know that he is desperate. The real question is, who is really behind this, and is it about the baby, or is there a bigger game at play at this point? Increases the pressure from all sides, social media is going crazy. Rumors are circulating in the streets, and even law enforcement is feeling the heat. However, the real question is, who is really responsible for this, and is it about the baby? Or is there a larger gain at play? Jim is in a desperate situation right now, according to people close to him, who claim he hasn't slept in days and has been calling constantly, pulling every string he can. As you are already aware, this man has serious connections, but despite his influence and power, he is failing to produce results. At that point, the Federal Reserve steps in. Yes, you heard correctly. Federal agents are involved because it appears that this case has gotten so out of control that local authorities are unable to handle it on their own. Rumor has it that this isn't just a simple kidnapping case. There may be some high-level criminals involved. You already know it's deeper than it seems when the feds come knocking. Now, let's talk about Chrissy. Since the news broke, she has not been seen in any interviews or social media posts, and people are beginning to wonder what she knows that we don't. Some insiders claim she has been in contact with an unidentified person who has been giving her information about the baby's possible location, but this is where things get complicated. More bizarrely, some claim that this was not a kidnapping at all, and that Chrissy knows exactly where the baby is. They also say that this whole situation is a cover-up for something much larger, But why would she do that? And more importantly, what is she hiding? Meanwhile, Jim is going crazy, arriving at police stations to demand answers and even hiring private investigators to look into it further. These PS have just discovered something crazy. There is footage purportedly from a security camera close to Chrissy's home that shows a black SUV pulling up minutes before the baby vanished. But the shocking part is that the person getting out of the SUV looks remarkably familiar. People are speculating that it's someone close to the family who has a long-standing grudge with the gym. It could be an ex, a former business partner, a rival in the industry, or someone else entirely. Involvement is too shady to ignore. And just when we thought things couldn't get any worse, there are new reports that Dro says a ransom letter has surfaced. That's right. Someone is requesting money in exchange for the baby's safe return, and you won't believe how much. It's $5 million. Now, here's the thing, Jim has money, but he isn't sitting on that kind of cash liquid, and some sources say he's been trying to assemble the funds quickly. But wait, why would someone kidnap a famous person's child and believe they can just demand money like this unless it was personal? This isn't just any crime. It feels like a setup, and someone knew what they were doing. Now, Jim must make the most important decision of his life. Should he pay up and retrieve his child, or should he call their bluff and let the authorities handle it? But let's face it, would you really take that risk if it were your child? Meanwhile, internet detectives are working nonstop while Jim deals with all of this. Some people think that this is all staged, that Jim and Chrissy are using the media to stay relevant. Others say that this goes deeper than Hollywood, that there is a big secret involved that they don't want revealed. And then there is the most terrifying theory of all. What if the baby was never truly involved? But what if this was all part of a larger plan? After all, Chrissy has been attempting to convince Jim to get married for years. What if this is her last attempt to force Jim to commit to being the man she has been pleading with him to be? It may sound crazy, but in Hollywood, nothing is off the table, which is why we must remain locked in because, regardless of how this plays out, one thing is certain. Far from being over, this story just keeps getting wilder, and you already know that we're going to keep an eye on it. What do you all think actually happened? Is Jim looking for his baby, or is there more to it? And do you think the police will apprehend his ex before it's too late? Please share your thoughts in the comments section, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and enable notifications to ensure you don't miss any updates because, believe me, this matter is far from over. Locked in, and we'll see you all there. The next one.